Hello everybody, my name is Track394 and welcome to my Minecraft 1.14.4 Plus Villager Wheat and Beetroot Farm tutorial. So in this tutorial I'm going to show you guys how to make a fully automatic wheat and beetroot farm using just simple minecart collection system and a hopper timer that'll collect your items once every 4 minutes and 15 seconds. Inside the farm, you want to have as many villagers as possible who will always be harvesting your crops for you, and then you can have the hopper minecart collect those items before they despawn. Now this farm uses new mechanics that are added in Minecraft 1.14.4. If you're not interested in all the details of how this farm works, I'm going to go ahead and put in a little marker in the video here, or a little time in the video, and you can go to that time in the video and just watch the tutorial for yourself. Anyways, the mechanic that originally was in effect in previous versions of Minecraft was that the villagers would stop harvesting crops when their village inventories got full. The way I got around this was I would use a collection system to automatically harvest the farm once every 20 minutes, and then the drops would get collected in a central collection area. But now in Minecraft version 1.14.4, that new mechanic has been removed, and the old mechanic has been re-added to the game. So if a villager has their inventory full of crops and seeds, they will harvest crops, but then they'll drop them on the ground, as you can see here. And then, of course, every 5 minutes or 4 minutes, you can send a hopper minecart to come and pick up those items, and then you can collect them over here in the central area. To build this farm, you're going to need a collection of building blocks of your choosing. I would also suggest a collection of glass, maybe a stack and a half of glass, just so that you can see your villagers inside of the farm. 3 hoppers, 2 sticky pistons, 2 redstone dust, 1 redstone torch, 2 comparators, 1 repeater, 2 chests, 11 powered rails, roughly a stack and a half of rails, minecart with hopper, 4 composters, 10 levers. The 10th lever is optional if you don't want to turn off the farm, and an optional button if you want to trigger the hopper minecart. A stair of your choosing, dirt, roughly a stack and a half of dirt, a water bucket, and of course a hoe so that you can till the soil yourself. Now that's all you need to build the farm, but if you want to install the villagers and make the farm the most efficient possible, you need to fill up the villagers' inventories with items. If you're making a wheat farm, you need to give your villagers 4 stacks of wheat seeds, 4 stacks of wheat, and then each villager also needs to get 16 bread so that they don't throw bread at each other. If you're making a beetroot farm, 4 stacks of beetroot seeds and 4 stacks of beetroot will do just fine. The beetroot counts as food, so they won't throw food at each other. The reason why you need to fill up their inventory is because if their inventory is not full, they'll keep the crops and the seeds to themselves. To build this automatic wheat and beetroot farm for yourself, you'll need to get yourself some dirt, water, a stair of your choosing, and a building block of choosing. And if you're going to do this above ground, I would suggest using glass of some sort so that you can see what your villagers are doing. First thing you have to do is, if you're going to be building this upwards like I am, then count 3 blocks, and on the 3rd block you'll begin making a 9x9 area of dirt. If you're doing this in a survival world, then you can just find a dirt area that's 9x9 in size and then dig underneath it to place down your rails in the future. So go ahead and build yourself a 9x9 area of dirt that's one layer thick. Once you have your 9x9 area, go ahead and count 4 blocks from the corner, and this middle block right here, break it out, put in a stair, and fill the stair with water. Now you are ready to till the soil and turn it into farmland. And while you're tilling the soil, the water will turn it into hydrated soil. I'll go ahead and do that. Once your 9x9 area of dirt has been tilled and turned into hydrated farmland, go ahead and get your light gray stained glass or whatever type of glass you want and build a 2-high area around the 9x9 dirt area, 9x9 farmland area. By doing this, you keep it so that none of the drops from the villagers will escape, and you'll also be able to contain your villagers and keep them from running off. When you're done surrounding your farmland with glass, or whatever block you choose, go ahead and put 2 blocks in the middle. This makes it so that when villagers drop items onto the stairs, they'll be able to pick up any seeds that they drop on the stairs. Next, you'll want to get out your composters, and you'll want to place them into the middle parts of the room. So take a composter, punch out this middle piece of glass right here, place a composter, and one right here, and one right here. With this design of the farm, I intend to put 4 villagers into the farm. If you do not have 4 villagers available to you, I would suggest only putting 1 composter for each villager that you intend to use. Now that you have installed your composters, go ahead and get your seeds out of your inventory and begin planting them in this manner. The reason why we're planting the seeds early is it gives the seeds plenty of time to begin growing before the villagers get to them and start harvesting them. Once you have planted all of your seeds, whether they be wheat seeds or beetroot seeds, get some villagers and put them inside of your farm. In this case, I'm going to be using 4 villagers. In survival Minecraft, the easiest way to do this is to go to a village like the one over there, collect 4 villagers from the village with the minecarts, and then move the minecarts through tunnels or through the surface over here to your harvesting area. Make sure that when you place the villagers that they find their composters and that they become normal villagers, farmer villagers specifically. Also, watch out and make sure that they don't break the blocks underneath them. If they do, make sure you fix it. Now that your villagers have been installed into your farm, you can begin the next portion of the project, which is installing the collection system. In order to save iron, I recommend using a hopper minecart with rails that will deploy itself every 5 minutes to pick up the drops from the villagers. To do this, go ahead and find the corner that you started the beetroot farm or wheat farm on, and place a block 2 blocks down from this corner dirt right here. Go ahead and place a block here and blocks in this direction until you go 1 past the last piece of dirt at the end of the row. The reason why we want to do this is because we want the hopper minecart to turn around outside of the farm so that all of the drops get collected. Once you have done this, place a bunch of rails and find the middlemost rail, which you can identify using this waterlogged block. Break the rail and put a powered rail. Then go underneath the block with the powered rail and put a lever on top of it. This powers the powered rail and allows you to power the minecart, and it'll continue on its journey back and forth. Continue this pattern all the way to the end of the farm over here. When you get over here to the end, make sure that you place a powered rail right here so that these rails do not connect to each other when you curve around like this. The minecart will sit here on this powered rail while we're waiting between collection cycles. When you get to the end of the last row, when you have finished placing your rails and your powered rails in this fashion, continue the rails to this point, place a powered rail and a block against that powered rail like this, and then power the block underneath that powered rail to bounce back the powered minecart back in the direction it came, and it'll eventually return to the starting point over here. To test it, take your hopper minecart like this, place it on this unpowered powered rail, just power it real quickly, send it off, and as you can see, it's going through the farm and collecting all the drops from the villagers above it. And when it's done, it'll bounce off that block and come back to its starting point. Now that we have installed the farm, we can go ahead and finish the item collection system. So you have already placed down your rails in this formation here. Go back to the unpowered rail at the very beginning and break the block underneath this powered rail right here. The reason why you want to do that is so that we can collect the items from the hopper minecart into a chest. So place down a chest like such, and then have a hopper going into that chest, and place the powered rail on top of that hopper, and then you can take your minecart with hopper and place it on top of that rail right there. So when the minecart with hopper is done collecting the items from the villagers, it'll go inside this hopper right here and into the chest, and then you can collect your items or do with this whatever you want. Next, you're going to want to install the hopper timing system that'll trigger the farm every 4 minutes and send off the hopper minecart to go retrieve the drops from the villagers. To do this, place down a block with a repeater facing into this block, powering that minecart rail right there. Set the repeater to maximum delay, and then put a block next to it diagonally like this with a redstone torch off of it. This will read the signal from the redstone torch and it will power that rail, and it'll send off the hopper minecart. Next, you'll want to place blocks next to the block with torch on it. Put a comparator and a redstone dot. This comparator will then be reading the signal from two hoppers facing into each other, like such. I would suggest placing blocks on top of the hoppers so that items do not fall into the hopper and fill it up. Place a block of redstone next to one of the hoppers, and then with that hopper that is now powered, fill it with items as such. So you have one hopper that is full of 64 items in each one of its slots, and then the next hopper needs to be completely empty. The signal is then read by the comparator, turning off this torch and keeping the minecart from going off and collecting the items. Next, you're going to want to place down your sticky pistons. Place one sticky piston next to this redstone dot like such, and then place another sticky piston next to this hopper like such. Reading the signal from this hopper will be a comparator pointing into a block, and then that block will be reading the signal from the block will be this redstone dot pointed into the sticky piston. Make sure that your comparators are set to the default settings. Leave them in the normal setting. You don't need to go to subtraction mode or anything like that. Now the hopper timing system has been set up. It'll trigger roughly every 4 minutes and 15 seconds to go and pick up the items from the villagers. If you want to turn off the system, get a lever and find this block right here with this hopper right here and turn it on like this. The reason why we want to choose this block specifically is we want all of the items to sit inside of this hopper and unpower this minecart right here. If we powered this hopper instead, this hopper would be empty, the comparator would turn off, the torch would turn on, and the minecart would constantly bounce back and forth collecting items. If you don't want to collect any items from the system, then you want to turn this lever on. If you want the system to operate as normal, leave it off. If you want to manually trigger the hopper minecart yourself, place down a wooden button on top of the block powering this powered rail right here, and you can press that button and send off the minecart whenever you want to collect the items from your villagers. The system is now working perfectly, and all we have to do is prime it and prepare the villagers so that they'll start automatically harvesting the wheat or the beetroot for themselves, but they will not keep any of those drops. Now that you have built the farm for yourself, it is time to prime the farm or prepare the villagers so that when they harvest the crops, they just leave them on the ground instead of keeping them for themselves. As you can see, right now the villagers are breaking the crops, but they're not dropping any extra seeds or extra crops in the ground because their inventories are not full. To do this, just go next to the composter of the villagers and throw them 4 stacks of seeds, 4 stacks of wheat or crops, and 16 bread. By doing this, by giving them bread, again, they won't throw the bread at each other and they won't waste crops doing so. All the villagers will eventually go back to their composters whenever they need to reset or use the point of interest, and so they'll just go here and collect all the items. Once you have filled up the inventories of all your villagers, you can test that they are indeed going to not collect the crops that they're harvesting for themselves is by taking bone meal in the farm and just building up a bunch of crops, and then seeing if they automatically harvest the crops without picking up any of the items. Make sure that you do this during the daytime, specifically around noon, so that the villagers will be in harvesting mode at the right time of day, and you'll know for sure. So as you can see here, the villagers are breaking the crops, but they're not picking them up for themselves. As you can see, they're leaving the crops on the ground. So when these crops are on the ground, the hopper minecart will come along every now and again. I can just manually trigger it here, and it'll pick up your crops from the ground, and it'll take them to the central collection area right here. And then as you can see, we're already beginning to pick up just a few items. After doing some testing with this farm with the current settings, I discovered that the farm is not extremely efficient. It's more efficient than the farm for 1.14.3, but it's still not the most efficient in the world. One of the biggest reasons why is that for some reason, villagers have some kind of fascination with items on the ground. If you throw an item on the ground, you notice how all the villagers kind of run up to it and they try to pick up the item. Well, unfortunately, if your items are on the ground like that, the villagers spend a lot of their time trying to pick up items that they can't actually pick up in their inventory instead of actually harvesting crops. And so for this reason, the efficiency is only about 20 to 30 wheat in a given hour. But and that's with the daylight cycle. That's not in ideal conditions like we have here, where it's always noon and there is no daylight cycle. But in the regular setup, you'll typically get 20 to 30 wheat in one hour of play in Minecraft, as long as this area is loaded and the villagers have opportunities to pick up the wheat. So if you want to increase the efficiency of the farm, but also increasing the lag just slightly, you can take out items from the item hoppers. So maybe you can get rid of half of the items in the hoppers or 3/4 of the items in the hoppers, so that this minecart launches itself more often and picks up more of the items from the villagers. Of course, doing so creates more lag because now you're moving the minecart back and forth and it's making noise, and it can be a little bit annoying. But it's totally up to you. If you want to have the minecart bouncing back and forth constantly, you can just have a comparator reading the signal from this hopper, and it'll stop. It'll unpower this minecart rail when the hopper has items inside of it. That's like a minecart unloader system, and so it'll just constantly bounce back and forth, picking up items from the villagers, and then the villagers will be more focused on harvesting crops instead of picking up items that are on the ground. So that's just something you can do to slightly increase the efficiency of the farm if you want to. It's totally up to you. My preference is 4 to 5 minutes. But anyways, that's the farm in its entirety. If you guys like the video, please make sure to like and comment. If you really like the video and you want to see more Minecraft content like this, I suggest subscribing to my channel. I also have a Let's Play that I think is very interesting, you guys would also like. If there's something you don't like about this video or you wish could be improved in the video, please also leave a comment in the comments section so I can look at that and work on that in the future. And also, if you guys have any questions about this farm or anything like that, you can also leave a comment in the comments section and I'll try to get back to you. But yeah, thank you guys very much for watching, and take it easy, everybody.